You are listening to the Southside Heat radio show. Southside Heat streams live every Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. Central on www.q4.org, iTunes Radio, and the TuneIn app. Search Q4 Radio in conjunction with Be in the Mix. As always, we got a big show on deck. Free agency talk. Carmelo Anthony, where is he headed? We'll get into a little summer league as well. I am Clement Townsend, employee number 8, 3-time All-Star Antoine Walker is in the building, ready to bring that fire. And I know we're going to have a little debate too, a little tease ahead to Zach LaVine and the Bulls coming to terms. I'm pretty sure we're on opposite sides of the fence on that one. But before we get into that, summertime in the Chi. I see you on IG enjoying the weather, blowing cigars. I don't know if you dusted off those golf clubs just yet, though, have you?
No, not yet. I got 3 clubs that's broke.
Right, you've been talking for weeks about getting them fixed.
And I just ain't made it around to it.
Haven't done it yet.
I'm not like you. I have a wife, somebody to take care of me, make sure that I got everything in order. I'm out here, man, just grinding, big fella.
Just grinding, huh?
Yeah, it's a little tougher for me.
I hear that. Of course, it is the Southside Heat. We are in the Chi. Taste of Chicago going on. Back when we were younger, you were about, 4 or 5 years older than me, but still, when we were teenagers, Taste Chicago used to be huge. A couple of weeks, that thing used to be packed. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. They peeled it back to 4 days, that sort of thing. You even hit it up anymore?
I have never hit it up.
You went up. I'm about to fall out of my seat.
I've never been to the Taste, man.
Rob, I need you to chime in real quick. Is that not crazy or is that not crazy?
You don't revoke your Chicago.
Come on, you can't be from the people across the country.
You never got up with the ladies when you was in high school and went mobbed out to the Taste and
nothing. Around
you was too famous in high school. That's what it was. See, I was a football player. I don't
like to go to places where I need security.
But when you was in high school, you didn't need security in Mount Carmel, bro. What are you talking about?
I didn't like going to places where I needed security.
Why did you need security in high school?
That's too many people in one place for me. I need to be
because in high school, you a teenager. You know how many shorties used to be out there. You ain't need security back then. This is pre-concussion.
A lot of talent out there at the Taste.
In high school, I went from 53rd to 63rd.
And that's about it.
I didn't make it past 63rd.
You didn't venture out too far.
Only time I left the neighborhood is to go play AAU basketball.
Sheltered, man. He one of them dudes sheltered. He thought the whole world revolved around the South Side back in the day. So I'm sure when you got to the league and you was going traveling on planes and everything,
that's when you start telling them to get on this level.
The world just opened up, boy.
I never been to the Taste, but I know it used to be like 2 weeks, 10 days, right?
Yeah.
But they changed it now. You have some violence and stuff happening.
A lot less restaurants.
Yeah, so they don't have as much food, correct?
For sure.
Do they still have
concerts?
Do they still have good musical acts?
Yeah, but they
believe
jam them up into a couple of days. It's not like it used to be where you'll get 5 dope acts maybe throughout the course of the 2 weeks. Now you get 2 or 3, and that's pretty much it. It's really condensed.
As much as this dude get on me about my Southside car and being from the Chi, and this dude never. It'd be different if people like, man, it's been 20 years.
I never been to the Taste.
Never.
You holding that against me? Is that
yes.
Is that like a Chicago main thing I got to do?
Absolutely.
I never been to the Taste. I ain't gonna even lie.
True.
Man, I'm gonna have to post that on social media.
That's a place where I need security though. So I mean, unless you're gonna provide security for me, I probably won't make it.
What?
I don't know. I still don't know if you would need security now. But I don't understand, and this is the thing. This is what I'm saying.
Excuse me. Hold on.
You like how you slid that in there?
You don't know if I need security now? So what are you trying to say? I'm not a celebrity now?
I'm not saying that, bro.
You're a celebrity. You're just not the same type of celebrity.
Right. I see you on FS1. I see you on SEC Network. I see you on TLC.
You know what?
I know who you are.
I knew I should have never gave you my real cell phone. I should have made you email me.
I should have got the other one.
I should have made you email me.
The other one.
Yeah.
But this is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I can't believe in high school.
I never went in high school. That was not a thing in high school. I never left. I'm telling you, I'm being honest. I'm not cracking a joke. I was from 53rd in Emerald to 63rd. That's what I knew. All I knew was the neighborhood.
Wow.
I never got a chance to go to the Taste. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth like you.
How you figure that?
I mean, he was going to the taste and all that. I mean, I wasn't going.
I was
You
getting on
had
the
to have a
train.
silver spoon to go to
Right?
the train.
I got on the train. Like, I was able to get on public transportation.
Right, that's how you got to the taste.
Like, I didn't drive.
I
What you talking
didn't
about?
have any money. And, I ain't had no money to, go down there.
Sir, stop.
I'm just saying, I didn't have no money.
Now
to go
you're
down
going to
there.
get up here and cry broke.
Man,
You know better.
I'm sure it's so many listeners that, watch us on Facebook Live. We on YouTube now, by the way. Holla at us, SouthSideHeat on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Folks that watch us or listen,
We
I'm sure
blowing
it's
up.
people,
They blowing up YouTube now, baby.
no doubt. I'm sure it's people that are not even from Chicago, because people from across the country.
I'm not doubting how big the taste was.
Right.
I'm very aware of the taste. But you said that have I ever been to the taste? No, I haven't. I mean, I haven't been to the taste. It's okay.
I'm speechless.
Is it really, Tom?
Let me ask you a question. Are you
Yeah.
and your wife going to the taste?
No, but
But what?
it's not the same. We established it's not the same. But I've been multiple times, and my wife, who is not from Chicago, who is from Philadelphia, I have taken her to the taste.
Yeah, I mean,
she is from out of town and
course
has
Of
experience.
course you're going to take her out of town. So that's like a no-brainer.
Right.
You're going to take your wife, of course. But I've never been to the taste. I mean, it's okay.
Let's dive into the basketball conversation. But before that, it's time for Name That Teammate. We got to get some theme
Bro,
music.
we gonna get some theme
We
music.
got to get some
I got
theme
it.
music for Name That
Next
Teammate.
week, name that teammate will have theme music.
I do appreciate that. Antoine, you played for how many different organizations? 6?
6 different teams.
6 different teams, 13 years, a lot of teammates. We did it last time, and I think you were pretty good, 2 out of 3. Had a little issue with Bimbo Coles. Try to make it, challenging. I'm not trying to stump you, just trying to make it challenging. You ready to get this thing cracking? Here we go. First teammate, he was taken in the 2005 draft. I think if I give you the school, that'll make it too easy. First round pick, 29th overall. You play with them in Miami. I'll go there first. Because once I get a school, I think it's over. I start off easy. 2005 draft. First round, 29th pick overall. You play with them in Miami.
Wow. 2005. Oh, Darrell Wright.
Not Darrell Wright.
Excuse me?
Not Darrell
It's
Wright.
not Darrell Wright?
I don't know if Darrell Wright went to Kansas though, bro. I'm gonna look at that up.
Is that
right
the
now.
school? Kansas?
Yeah.
Wayne Sheldon.
Wayne Simeon.
Simmons.
Wayne Simeon. I knew
Wayne
once.
Simeon.
Yep.
Yeah, Wayne Simeon.
I knew once I gave you the school that you would pretty much get it. He was only in the league for like 2 years though, bro. Like
Yeah,
that's
he had
surprising.
he was an undersized power forward.
Okay.
And he had some, and he got drafted by the wrong team. His first couple of years were, you had myself, Udonis Haslam, James Posey. He was pretty stacked for his first couple of years, so he never really got a chance to develop.
That's crazy.
He was a good practice player though.
That's what you can say. Like he was good to break a sweat against.
I mean, he's good at practice. He used to,
That's not a good compliment, bro.
Slightly
he used to carry my bags and stuff like
Are
that.
you serious?
He was one of the
He was
best.
your rook.
He was one of the best guys I know to carry bags and give me the proper stuff on the road.
Oh man, that's where we going. He was good to carry bags.
Well, when you're a rookie, you delegate roles to your rookies.
Okay.
So he was a rookie in 05. It was my first year with the Heat.
Right.
I gave him a couple assignments. Mine was light though.
All right. Because
Get
you
my
were in,
bag, yeah.
you were in Miami for 2 years, and he was in Miami for 2 years. That was his whole
I was
career.
in Miami for 2.5 years.
2.5. My bad on the half. My bad on the half.
Well, I just say you.
My man wanted to clarify.
Well,
and I'm a journalist. I'm all about accuracy.
Well, when we have guests on,
Okay.
you do a very good job of giving them the proper introduction,
Right.
their proper bio.
Okay.
I work with you every day. Just give me the
No
proper
doubt.
introduction. Know my bio.
2.5.
Know my history. You know what I mean?
2.5. All right, Wayne Simeon, we 1 for 1. We keep it moving. Next guy, play with you in Boston. Obviously, you spent several years in Boston.
And I played with a lot of
Yep.
players in Boston. Let me see that.
97 draft,
I knew you was gonna do something.
second round pick, 54th overall. And played at Pittsburgh. That's all the clues I have. I just used them up all at once. I should have eased
That's all
them
you got.
in.
No more lifelines.
Right, I should have eased
Oh,
them
in
in.
97?
Yeah, I should have eased them in. It's all the clues you got. 97 draft.
He older than me. I can't even pick him. Pittsburgh.
Yep, Pittsburgh, played with you in Boston. I do actually have one more clue.
Yeah, I probably need that clue.
Okay. He played 9 years in the NBA. So he wasn't a guy like Wayne Simeon that was out in a couple years. He played 9 years in the NBA. I'm going to see what other teams he played with, too.
1917.
That's when he got drafted, yeah. Let me see. 9 years in the NBA.
I'm not going to even lie. I'm not going to get this right. I can't think of somebody.
He played in Denver as well, played in Minnesota, and played in Miami. I think when I say it, you'll know this guy, but like once again, he wasn't a star.
You
He
said
didn't.
University of Pittsburgh. That's what's got me.
Yep. He actually went to Oak Hill for high school. You know, Oak Hill has produced a lot of guys. I'm pretty sure. I think T-Mac is the guy that comes to mind that went to Oak Hill.
Even with that don't even give me up. University of Pittsburgh. What college? What's conference they in? I mean, I just don't know. I mean, is that a football school?
Yeah, they are known more for football.
They are.
Yeah, that's why I'm probably struggling with it.
Mark Blount.
I would have never guessed.
You would have never guessed
I
that.
would have never guessed.
But you know who that guy? You familiar with?
Oh, Mark, my guy.
Mark is your guy.
Yeah,
Didn't know what college he went to though.
Yeah, I know what college. Mark was one working with a full deck. That's why.
Wow.
We getting all the heat
I
today.
see.
First, Wayne
I
Simeon,
see.
good practice player,
Yeah.
carries the
Great
bags.
bags.
Yeah.
I said he carried the bags very well. Don't misinterpret what I said.
But all right, but now about Mark, you said
Mark-
he wasn't working with a full deck.
But Mark was cool. What this way he was a little off, a little challenged.
Okay, all right. T-Mac went to Mount Zion. There's somebody else notable that went to Oak Hill. Final guy. So we 1 for 1. I don't know if this one is hard or easy, but he is certainly a player that made an impact. 95 draft. That was your draft, right? 95?
96.
96.
There you go again. There you go again. Hey, bro, what's going
I
on?
think Twan feeling some kind of way,
Hey,
man.
what's going on?
95 draft, first round pick, 18th overall.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Wyoming.
Dun, dun, dun.
He 95 draft.
Yep. 18th pick in 95 draft.
Where he play with me at?
Played with you in Minnesota.
Minnesota roster. Wow.
Yeah. That was the last season, of course, in the league for you.
There you go again.
That's not right?
No, that's wrong. Man.
When else was you in the league after Minnesota?
Memphis.
Oh, they don't even show that on the Basketball Reference.
Oh,
I got your
wow.
bio pulled up, so don't charge that to me. Charge that to Basketball Reference. They just like erase that year.
Wow. They erased it a year of your career.
Your career ended in Minnesota when you played 2007, 2008, the 46 games. That's all Basketball Reference got on you. I had to dig a little deeper, huh? So don't put that on me. I did the research on that. But anyway, the 96 6 overall pick, that's on me. But back to the guy.
Really?
Back to the guy.
Really?
All right. 95 draft. When I played with you in Minnesota. He made an All-Star team. I
In
think
Minnesota?
he wasn't an All-Star in Minnesota, but in his career, he made an All-Star team.
I'm trying to think who's on my team.
I think if I give you this, you'll know.
You did pretty good.
Once again, 2-time All-Defensive team. 2-time All-Defensive
He
team.
played with me in Minnesota.
Played with you in Minnesota.
Man, I had some head cases with me in Minnesota.
3-time block champ. This should do it. In Minnesota.
Block champ.
Led the league in blocks 3 times. All-Defensive
You
team.
got the right team?
Minnesota. Yep. I did the research. On this one. This was supposed to be the tough one. It's supposed to be the tough one.
Well, Minnesota, I'm trying to think. Al Jefferson was our center.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
Al Jefferson, we
Okay.
had Craig Smith.
And you had another guy that got bought out that year. He got bought out in Minnesota.
He probably got bought out before I got there.
Were you there at the beginning of the season? Weren't you there at the beginning of the season?
I was
That might
there.
have
I
been
got
half.
I was there about the first part of the season. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Like he played maybe like the first 10 games, and then got injured, missed maybe like 45 games or so. Would still have been on the roster though when you were there. Got bought out.
Man,
Think
that's
about
tough.
Yeah, Minnesota, a defensive guy from around that time, led the league in blocks. We stumped you. See, I didn't know if this was going to be super easy because when I said block champ, got bought out, defensive guy, But since he only played 10 games, then got bought out. After leaving Minnesota and got bought out, he went on to the Pistons like that same year.
Man, I feel old. I can't remember this.
We got to get some music, you know what I mean?
The music them don't do nothing but put pressure on me. That's the point. I don't know. I can't even give you a good answer. I'm looking at that roster. I can't even think of some center.
He went to the finals with the 76ers.
I mean, that don't mean nothing.
That don't help you out. I was in Philadelphia around that time, so that jumped out.
I'm interested to know who this guy is now.
Theo Ratliff.
He was not with me with Minnesota, was he?
Yes, he was. Yes, he played the first 10 games.
Wow, I forgot about Theo. I never knew I played with Theo.
He played the first 10. But now that I said you don't remember none of the buyout, you don't remember him being on the roster, getting injured, none of that stuff.
Nope, but I remember, obviously I remember Theo Ratliff.
Right.
But no,
2007, 2008, it looked like he played the first 10 games. I don't know if you all were ever, played in the same game because I kind of went through the box score. I don't know if you played in those first 10 games. I think you did play in those first 10 games when I looked at it. I'll have to dive deeper.
I did play in the first 10 games.
You did play in the first 10 games. So
I got there before the first game.
Yeah. So
I had to think back.
Theo Ratliff, 07, 08, played in 10 games, got injured for like 45 games or so. Wanted to go to a contender because you know how it goes. You were there. Y'all weren't that good. And I guess Kevin McHale bought him out. Was Juwan Howard around that time too? Because I read an article that was saying Juwan Howard had got bought out too. Was he? Where was?
What year?
Around the
My year?
Yeah, around the time with Kevin McHale.
Well, I just need you to get my bio correct. I know reference, but I was in Memphis for half the season. I took a buyout in January.
For Memphis?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see this Juwan.
Just so you know that.
Yeah, we had to get with Basketball Reference and tell them to update, what they have going on. But shout out to the Being the Mixed crew, Rob and Horace. If y'all watching us on Facebook Live, we got that sweet banner in the building. We got that branding going on, Southside Heat, looking sweet.
Yeah, you never knew you could look like that, huh?
Come on, man. You see how I look, sharp as a tack on that thing, boy. I'm dapper on that thing, for real. I already know how it go down, for sure. Still to come, though, we're going to take a quick break. We got to get to Zach LaVine agreeing to a deal with the Chicago Bulls. Also, Carmelo Anthony. Where will he end up? L.A., Houston, the MIA. We'll discuss that and more. Stay with us. Southside Heat. Coming right back. So
Battle look nice though.
Yeah.
Look really good.
So I gotta get some like quick blurbs. I can get your audio files now on the site.
Okay.
So the podcast and everything,
Uh-huh.
or anything if you want to write, like the write-ups,
Okay.
we're gonna get those.
What you mean you need some quick blurbs? What you mean?
Just like quick write-ups. I'm trying to take some notes of the show and stuff like that. Because my thing is to get Southside Heat channel on the site.
Okay. On Be in the Mix site?
Yeah, I gotta fill it up with content.
Okay. My man never been to the Taste. Horace, you're not from here, but have you been to the Taste?
Yeah.
And he not even from here.
Just one.
That's crazy, bro.
Man, they
I went one time and I was like, he was too many people, man.
Last time I saw Horace, he was walking on a damn rhyme.
What you talking about?
Last time I saw him, he was on a damn rhyme, baby.
It was so
How many
crazy.
people did he get out there, you think?
It was about a couple thousand.
That's strong.
There's a couple thousand. Yeah, they had us wait for an hour before they let us on. The damn right. They had us stand out there for an hour. So they were just trying to get people to, man, it was really shady, man. They had people out there in the hot sun. People didn't leave.
How long did they, how far y'all walk?
79th down to like 63rd, something like that.
And y'all walk back?
The buses took us back. Yeah, they let you walk back. They let you get off at 63rd, and there's like, there was so many police out there. State police, about 100 bicycle cops. They had the sanitation trucks lined up, man. It was like a war zone. They had the huge buses for state correctional facility, just in case the people got out of line. It was like 3 or 4 of those buses out. I mean, they literally looked like they was about ready to go to war.
That's because they were.
It was man. So here's me. I'm like, oh man, you know, they got the sanitation buses out there, the sanitation trucks out there to, you know, keep cars from coming over. Now it's to keep us from getting on the expressway. And I was like, oh man, they got.
So where y'all walk in the middle of Dan Ryan?
Middle of Dan Ryan.
Yeah.
Just
I
walk
saw the
those
video.
blocks?
Yeah.
I saw the
Or,
video.
you want to move this over? Like we can't
Yeah.
even see it on the
Yeah, I was trying
Facebook.
to figure out where the best positioning. I didn't want him. Let's see. I'm looking.
It's like a delay, so let me see. You know, it's a delay on the Facebook. Yeah. I think that's perfect right there. I think that's perfect.
Let's go.
Trying to move this mic out the way. Cool.
Got a little bit of it in there.
Southside Heat, Clement Townsend, Antoine Walker. Be sure to check us out on Facebook Live, Be in the Mix Facebook page. Also check us out on the gram, C Townsend TV on Instagram, Twan Walker 8 on IG. You know how we roll. We continue the basketball conversation with the Chicago Bulls. And you know, Antoine, we don't talk about the Chicago Bulls a lot. That's because they haven't really done too well in the past few years. Zach LaVine was a restricted free agent. The Bulls wanted to see if he would get any offers. Sacramento Kings did sign him to an offer sheet, 4 years, $78 million. Immediately after they signed him to an offer sheet, Antoine, I text you. I'm like, what should the Bulls do? You said they got a match. I'm like, I wouldn't match that. I don't know. That's too steep. Well, lo and behold, the Bulls decided that they had to match, or decided that they would match. 4 years, $78 million. Zach LaVine is back with Chicago and will be a piece of their core going forward. You know how I feel. I do, as I dug into it, Antoine, I do understand it a little bit more. I know that the Bulls or Sacramento have put some language in their contract to protect them in case that knee is not quite right. So they have some protections, I believe, with the money, kind of like Joel Embiid has going forward. And that's something that the Bulls didn't want to bring up. But since it was in the Sacramento contract, Chicago got that over to their contract. So that makes me feel a little bit better about it. But I'm still not 100% on board. If it was me, I still wouldn't have done it. Your take, though.
Well, I think obviously they had to do it. If you know the business of basketball and understand, they traded away a top 15 player in this league. You know, Jimmy Butler is considered one of the better two-way players in this league, and they traded away for him to get Zach LaVine. So they had no choice but to match the offer, because you would hate for 2-3 years down the line to say, wow, what did we get for Jimmy Butler? And you don't have a player, or the draft pick doesn't work out right. So that was the reason why they pretty much had to resign. Then also too, let's not disregard his talent level. This is a young athletic guy who can score the basketball, who can play the one and the two. Obviously he's very young.
23 years old.
He'll be able to fit into their system as they continue to move forward. I think obviously I don't worry about when guys that young get hurt. You look at Jabari Parker, who's already had 2 ACL surgeries, and he's still very athletic, still very good. Those guys still will be able to fulfill a 4 to 5 year contract. So I don't worry about him being hurt. I'm not even, if I was his agent, I wouldn't even. They couldn't even put any language in that contract if it was me. But obviously he probably was thirsty to get the money.
he was happy to get an offer sheet, because if you didn't get the offer sheet from the Kings, then you kind of at the Bulls' mercy, and the Bulls had leverage. So you probably felt like, okay, at least we'll get some more money per se from the Kings.
And which a lot of guys, and we'll talk about that. It's a lot of guys that are on a short list right now that the cap is really strapped them to where they're going to have to play for 1 year deals, probably 1 year qualifying deals. But I like the move by the Bulls. I think you have to start keeping some of these young guys and building around somebody. I'm a big fan of Zach, so I believe it's the right move. I don't necessarily worry about the numbers because he's young, so you'll be able to move that. It's not like there's going to be a dead contract where a guy that's 32, 33 years old, like a Luol Deng, who sign for big money and then you get stuck with it and he's not even playing or being a part of your team. So I think he'll be fine. I'm looking forward to actually watching him play a full season because even the games that he came back last year, he showed a lot of flashes of how good he can be.
That's $19.5 million per year.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Why you're a Chicago fan.
Yep.
Why you didn't like Zach getting that type of money?
Number one, I don't think he's worth it. That's number one. That's number one. Let me finish. In this day and age, he is very athletic, hands down. But we know the three ball is so important, and I feel like with Fred Hoiberg, the system that he wants to run, they want to get up and down the floor, and they want to space the floor, and Zach LaVine is still not a legit threat from three-point range. Last year, shot 34% from three-point range. In his career, shooting about 37% from three-point range. Now, he can give you buckets at times. I specifically remember the Minnesota game when Jimmy Butler came back to United Center. They were battling. He had 35 in that game, although he was 1 of 6 from three-point range. But there was also the game against Boston where I was in the building where the Celtics ran him off the court and Kyrie didn't even play. And Zach LaVine was 1 for 11 and had 4 points. He plays no defense whatsoever. You know I get on guys. I get on Steph. As much as I like Steph, and we talk about his threes, Steph cannot play defense. We talk about James Harden. He cannot play defense. Zach LaVine, in his 4 years in the NBA, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but every single season, every year, when you look at his defensive ratings, the team has been better defensively when he was off the court. When he is on the court, the team's defensive rating is worse every single year. So if he's not scoring and he's not hitting his three, then what does he bring to the table? Because he don't distribute. You said he can play the 1 or the 2. He don't get other guys involved.
He can play the 1 or 2. I think you reading it wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think you dig into the numbers too hard. You got to understand the quality of teams he's been on. He hasn't been on a good team, so you can't talk about defensive numbers when you're not on a good team. He was part of a bigger problem. I mean, he's part of a Minnesota team that wasn't very good defensively. Obviously, him and Wiggins and Towns were in the process of turning things around and being a lot more competitive. Obviously, we know how bad the Bulls were. So he hasn't been, in his 4 years, he hasn't been on good teams to even think about defensively what he's doing defensively. When you're on a bad team, it's just like averaging 30 points on a bad team. We know you're really, really good, but you're averaging 30 points on a bad team. So it's kind of like DeMarcus Cousins and kind of how the market shrink for him because those big numbers were on bad teams. I mean, obviously he has some off-the-court baggage and his injury plays another part. But think about it. DeMarcus Cousins, we know, was a terrific talent, but that's all we can say about him.
Let me ask you this. Who will be the number 1 option on the Chicago Bulls?
I think right now it's kind of 1A, 1B marketing, and LaVine will be probably the 1A, 1B options on the offensive end right now, if I had to guess.
So as a fan, I'm concerned, how far can you go? Can you be a real contender with LaVine as your number 1 option? You know, we talk about stars a lot.
Yeah, but he could be a part of it. See, one thing you got to understand, next summer, 2019, the Chicago Bulls will be able to get a free agent. And the reason why they'll be able to get a free agent, it's a big free agent year. You have a ton of guys coming out. If these qualifying offers, if these players have to sign for these qualifying offers, now you're talking about another 7, maybe 7 to 8 guys that'll be free agents in 2019. So the talent pool in 2019 is going to be very, very good. So he's a piece to the puzzle. You got marketing. You drafted Wendell Carter. Through Summer League, looks very, very good.
Sure. Looks like
they hit a home run with that. Now you add Zach LaVine. Now you're starting to put some pieces together to be competitive. Now if you're able to add an all-star onto your team in 2019, you don't necessarily got all that pressure on a Zach LaVine, and he can be a part of it. Because I thought he was very good with Andrew Wiggins and Clement Townsend. You know, he kind of stood out. He was like, man, he got some game. He's one of those guys you will see and be like, okay, he's going to be nice. And then obviously he's one of the most exciting players when healthy, and he gets on a break and he turns it over. I mean, you got to think about it. One thing about Chicago fans is they love exciting players. We watch, obviously, Michael Jordan growing up as kids, and Derrick Rose we got to see Derrick Rose at his best, one of the most exciting guards in the game when he was healthy. And now we get another guy who's the slam dunk champ.
Couple times. He won like twice.
Yeah, so, obviously people in Chicago love Dave. He's going to be one of those guys, when he gets a steal, he get on the break, everybody getting up in the stadium.
He is a highlight guy. To your point about the Bulls and free agency, I'm a fan, so I'm optimistic. But the Bulls haven't been a free agent destination in quite some time.
I know that, but this is the thing now. Players have to come now because the Bulls gonna have the cap space. They got the money. They have to entertain Chicago now. You're gonna have so many guys out there. You got to think about it. You're gonna have Jimmy Butler, Clement Townsend.
Yeah.
Kawhi
could be out there.
Kawhi will be out there because he won't sign an extension.
Kyrie could opt out. He could be out there.
He's going to opt out. We know he's going to opt out.
Al Horford has an opt out.
Al Horford. He probably can't make $30 million or well, so he'll probably opt into his deal. But all those guys, you got to talk about. And after you get past the top 5 or 6 guys, you still have a good talent pool that's left in 2019.
Kemba could be out there.
Kemba Walker will be a free agent. So you've got a number of guys that will still be out there for the Bulls to be able to go after. So this year, they will have an opportunity to go out. 2019 have a chance to go out there. But you got to keep some guys. I know the number sounds really, really high, but 19.5 for a guy who's yet to really prove himself sometimes can. But when I see Kim Basemore making $17 million a year, you see guys, and I hate to call out guys in the numbers, but it's a lot of marginal guys in this league that are making anywhere between $15 to $18 million a year. I like Zach LaVine's potential much more than a lot of those guys that have gotten those type of deals.
I hope he proves me wrong. I want to see him do well. If they can land somebody big and he's like, the second fiddle, that's my thing. Like you said, if they can get another all-star, if he's my number one guy and the Bulls trying to rebuild to be a contender, and like LaVine and marketing, those are your primary scoring options for getting buckets every single night, I have an issue with that. And
I just think right now people got to be patient with the Bulls. I think they're going to do what they have to do to stay competitive. Obviously, they got a young team, develop these guys. I think 2019 we'll probably be looking at a new head coach. I think.
Whoa! You can't just drop that on them, my man. You can't just drop that on them.
Well, Fred Hoiberg is going to his last year of a deal. I think they will go and start entertaining a bigger name coach, a more veteran coach.
Wow.
In 2019,
okay.
I think they will be able to sign 2 guys, 2 max guys, so they'll be able to add to this roster the way they need to. So the Bulls are not far away from getting relevant again. LeBron James is gone out the Eastern Conference. That is huge. You build your team totally different now. So you got to factor in all those things. So a lot of GMs had to take a step back now, especially in the Eastern Conference, because the goal every year was to figure out how to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now you kind of got a more of a balanced Eastern Conference. Obviously the Celtics look great on paper, but the Eastern Conference is balanced now. So you build your team totally different because LeBron James has left the Eastern Conference.
We'll see how it shakes out. I just think of a team like the Philadelphia 76ers who they were always looking for a superstar, whereas they had like a Drew Holiday and they traded him trying to get picks for a superstar.
Okay, then. Embiid played 31 games. They gave him $150 million.
Yeah.
We both thought it was crazy.
Yeah, and he's balling.
Even though them 31 games were very impressive.
Yep.
But we thought the Sixers was kept crazy for giving him that type of money. But you got a guy now who's an all-star. So you got to think about that. Look at Zach LaVine. You never know what can happen with this guy. This guy has star potential written all over him. He could be a guy in Chicago. The only thing I know what you're saying as far as a go-to guy. But right now on their roster, they don't have a 25-point night scorer.
They don't. So if you don't re-sign LaVine, the marketing to me not ready to be that guy. So you will have a huge void, and your rebuild takes a lot longer. So I think they, like you said, you try to continue going in the right direction. And if you don't sign LaVine, it's like you're taking 2 steps back.
Yeah, and then you gave up. You got to remember, people got to understand. I hope they don't have to get caught up in the numbers. The Bulls gave up a top 15 player, probably 1 or 2 best 2-way players that we have in the league in Jimmy Butler. They have to see if this young guy pans out. You got to see if you got it right. And I think if you gave up on him right now, you'd have been doing yourself an injustice. So I do agree with the Bulls in matching him. I think he's going to be a terrific player. Obviously, we'll see how things work out for them. But I think the Bulls did a good job in matching it, getting it out the way, making this kid feel comfortable. I'm not, but not to keep harping on it, but I'm surprised that they put an injury provision. I mean, guys tear their ACLs every day. It wasn't, that's not the worst injury in the world.
Right. The Kings did that, and from Zach LaVine and his camp's point of view, to be able to get the Bulls to match something, you almost kind of had to get, which would have been the injury provision for them to give you that $78 million to now go back to Chicago and say, hey, will you match it?
And that's probably 40 guaranteed, something like that. And
yeah.
Probably that number of games.
But you see what I'm saying from that perspective? Like, Zach, without the offer from Sacramento, Zach would have maybe had to take that qualifying offer, which I think was maybe $4 million was his qualifying offer, something like that.
Yeah,
take a 1-year deal.
Yeah, the Bulls are in a good position. They made a good choice right there. I've been, like I said, been watching.
$4.4 million was his qualifying offer.
They've been watching Summer League. Their draft pick.
We're gonna get to Wendell.
You're doing pretty good. So
I know you want to get. I can tell you want to get to Wendell. You want to chop
really,
it up.
I mean, he cool. He went to Duke. I'm not like that.
Right.
A Duke player don't turn me on.
Right. But when we start talking about Kevin Knox though, because we're gonna get to Kevin Knox too. Now we talking. They're talking that BBN.
Yeah, now
right.
we talking about that Big Blue Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we talking.
Before we get to that though, Carmelo Anthony, it appears it's only a matter of time before he is going to leave OKC. Anthony's camp trying to work with Sam Presti to figure out how they could part ways. Anthony did opt in for his $28 million deal. Whenever they figure out how they can part ways, whether he gets waived, whether it's a sign and trade, 3 teams seem to be very interested, and all of these are Carmelo's homies. LeBron in LA, they seem interested. D Wade and the crew in Miami, there's been some interest there. And a lot of people say his guy Chris Paul and the Houston Rockets. We know the Rockets have already lost Trevor Ariza. He went to Phoenix. Luke Mbamute has moved on to the LA Clippers. So it certainly seems like they have a need. Do you have a location that you feel like would be a best fit for Melo and his skill set?
I thought about this long and hard. I do like the 3 choices. I think all 3 choices bring a different dynamic. But the best choice for Melo would be to go to the Houston Rockets. And the reason why I would go to the Rockets for Melo, I'm looking at they lost both of their 3 men, both of their swing guys. The opportunity to play big minutes, the opportunity actually to me, he'll probably start.
Right. They have been talking about him coming off the bench, but if you don't got a reason in my Mbamute, he should be starting.
Yeah, he'll probably start at the power forward spot for them. Well, it depends if you want to consider P.J. Tucker power forward, small forward, whatever you want to do. But he'll probably start. So he's still able to start. He'll be playing for a playoff team, a team that has championship aspirations. So that should motivate him, being that he's never won a championship. I think with 2 ball handlers like James Harden and Chris Paul, Melo has become a standstill jump shooter. Not very quick, doesn't have the same quick first step that he had back in the day. But this is a guy that shot 36% from the 3-point line. He's going to get 7 to 10 attempts a game and comfortable without a coach saying anything to him. I think that's where he fits in at. I think late in games, if you have to post somebody up, I still believes he has some post-up ability. He averaged 16 points last year. I know people look at the field goal percentage and this and that, and I look at all the ESPNs and the Fox News, and you look at all these people that think they know basketball and got this. When you play on a team with Russell Westbrook and Paul George, your shot attempts are going to be limited.
True.
If you're a volume shooter, Carmelo Anthony, if you follow basketball, you know his career. He's a volume shooter. He's a guy that needs multiple looks from the basket to be effective. He's not a guy that's walking around shooting 52, 53% from the field. He's a guy that's going to shoot 20-plus times a game to get his numbers. What made Melo great back in the day, he was great at getting to the free throw line, a great free throw shooter, and he also had a great first step where he can go finish over the top. Obviously, he's not as quick as he used to be, so he's turned himself into more of a jump shooter. But you're not going to get in this league at a starting power forward spot 16 points a night. That's a luxury to be able to get a guy like that. Now, the negative part with Melo is that I need Melo to look himself in the mirror and realize that I'm on the downside of my career. And I think you look at Allen Iverson, and it's rubbed me like the Allen Iverson situation. And then when Allen Iverson went to Memphis, I don't know if you remember this, I think Mike Conley was starting over him.
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe that Mike Conley was starting over him.
It didn't end well.
And it kind of ended wrong, and it ran him out the league because no team wanted to take a chance on Allen Iverson because they believed that Allen Iverson still wanted to be the man. Melo has to realize that those days are over with. You're going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You've had a great career. You're one of the most prolific scorers to ever play in this game in the NBA. And you have to take your individual accolades and build on those and say, hey, I never had a championship. Let me see if I can add this to my, my resume. And that's what bothers me about Melo. Coming out publicly saying you're not coming off the bench, you're not going to do this. That's how you get yourself ran right out the league.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You don't come out and say what you're not going to do when you're not producing at a level to control that. Like, it's a difference. Like, Kawhi Leonard can tell the Spurs, I want to go to L.A. It's a difference. And guess what? The Spurs are listening right now. They can't budge right now. Because guess what? He's considered a top 3 player in the league. That's the difference. Melo, you're not that player no more. I just wish he would realize it. Because if he takes the role of being the guy that comes off the bench, gets you 10 or 12 points, like a Jamal Crawford who's 37, 38 years old, just do your job, Melo might play 3 more years. You never know. In the right team, right system, you never know. But the fact that he won't humble himself is very disheartening. I feel bad for him. That's bad. And sometimes the hardest thing as a player, I mean, I left the game way before I wanted to leave. It's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say it's over. But you don't want, I know Melo still wants to play. You can tell he still wants to play.
And he still wants to be a focal point, too, an integral part of a team.
But what OKC, to let him go and say, we don't want you no more, is strictly, I don't think it's basketball. I think it's strictly because of his words that he don't want to come off the bench. They've got to figure out a way to make their team better. They got to be better than 46, 47 wins. They know that.
Why you say you don't think it's basketball? Because in the role that they need him, they need somebody that can space the floor and knock down shots.
Because I don't think it's basketball because he has an ego. You know, see, when you're a star like that, you don't know how he's carrying himself in the locker room, on the plane. Is he talking to the young guys? Is he mentoring the young guys? Is he trying to get them better?
And is he interacting well with Westbrook and George, who they consider, to be valuable pieces?
You know, and I'm gonna be honest. You know, Melo has some personal problems.
Still?
No, I mean last year.
Right.
A lot of people don't talk about it.
We talked about it when it went down.
Yeah, but I mean that plays a part. When your household ain't right, he had a situation going on.
Had or has?
Well, it's a permanent situation.
That's what he said past. I just want to know is it present.
He had a personal situation that's not going away, and I think that affected how he played last year. He may never admit that.
Right.
But I think that affects that. I mean, when you play in the league, and I had the great fortune of playing there, you need everything. When you playing and you focus and you on the season, you want everything to be able to lock down.
But be honest, when Tristan Thompson had the situation, you said that shouldn't be an excuse. You should be able to play through it.
He was fine. That was T. Lue that took him out the lineup. I was saying, why is he not playing?
Okay.
It wasn't because of that. Remember, T. Lue took him out the lineup.
Right. He didn't even get a chance.
He didn't get a chance. And as soon as he started playing, he showed them that wasn't a distraction.
Right.
He shows you that he's a player now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is, I guess, when you're a veteran like Melo, stuff like that shouldn't be a distraction, right? You should be able to play through that.
No,
type
I
of
disagree because his situation is something that's going to be the rest of his life.
Okay.
And obviously, that dealing with that type of situation is totally different.
Okay.
It's kind of like somebody having a sickness, and you got to go to the doctor for the rest of your life to make sure that you stay alive. It's just one of those type of situations that Melo had to deal with. But my biggest thing for Melo is that you still got something left in the tank. You could be a big part of the Houston Rockets. If they're able to pull this off, you sign with the Rockets, you'll still start at power forward. You're going to be in a situation where you're going to be able to shoot 7 to 10 threes a game. Obviously, you're going to have to put a little more effort on the defensive end with them. And the only reason I say that because Houston's a switching team. So he'll be switching out against a Westbrook, a Steph Curry, and those guys. So he's got to be willing to sit down and play a little defense. But I think he'll be great for them because everybody's like, oh, Houston, I know they gave Chris Paul $160 million. Houston not the second best team in the East. I mean, the West. No.
Who was that now?
Right now, they don't have Clint Capella. Let's be real.
Right, but we expect them though, right? We do
okay,
expect them.
if you expect them, I thought they let two defensive pieces on their team that don't need a lot of shots, even though they did shoot the ball way too much for my liking. But they didn't need a lot of shots. They did a lot of the dirty work, the diving on the floor. Trevor Ariza was a huge part. I don't understand why they felt like that they didn't need Trevor Ariza. That's here nor there. I'm not sold on Chris Paul. He's yet to show me that he can play a full season.
I'm with you.
So I'm not sold on that.
I'm with you on that.
I can't wait till we get on the topic of that. He got the biggest gun in the NBA. He had the best offseason than anybody. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, Houston, they need Carmelo Anthony too. Just as much as Carmelo Anthony needs Houston, Houston needs Carmelo Anthony.
You said they're not the second best team anymore though. Who is the second best team in the West?
They all bunched up together.
Okay.
I mean, I don't consider nobody. I mean, it's Golden State, and then I think the rest.
Everybody else.
It's not no team. I wouldn't be surprised if Portland was this 2 seed. Like it's just I'm not.
They were the 3 seed last year.
Yeah, so I'm not. It just doesn't matter to me.
OKC, I don't know if you put them up there, yet to be seen. We talk about Robertson coming back. I like though Robertson, Adams, George, and Carmelo.
Yeah, and
they re-signed Raymond Felton today.
Yeah, I mean they're strapped money wise, so they're only gonna be able to piece their team together. But with those big three, I mean I think we overlook how good Steven Adams is, and they get their defensive stopper back, and I like Jared Grant's a hustle guy. So they got some pieces in play. It's time for Westbrook. I mean it's time for Westbrook and Paul George to take their game. When we talk about a guy who's an MVP, we talk about another guy, Paul George, who's supposed to be one of the better two-way players in this league. It's time for them to take their game to the next level. They should be able to carry a team to 55, 60 wins. They got a very intimidating home court where their fans come out and support them. I mean, they should be very good. There's no more excuses for Westbrook right now. He's got a guy, him, Paul George. It's time to start delivering. If they're those elite guys, they got Melo out the way, so that gives them an extra,
more shots,
15 shots
more shots
to divvy up between the two of them. And we'll see what happens.
I do hope that Carmelo Anthony lands in a good spot and that Carmelo is able to produce because, like you said, I don't think his time is up in the NBA. No, I think he still can be.
But he's running his way out the NBA.
Okay.
I just think, and obviously he's not speaking, but his agent's speaking. But you can't have that verbiage out there no more that you don't want to come off the bench. You got to change that narrative. In his press conference, whenever he signs, it's going to be the biggest day, I think, of his career.
He had to say all the right things?
I think he has to man up and say, look, I'm here to help them win. I believe I got a lot left in the tank. I'm willing to do whatever this team needs me to do to help us win and leave it at that. You gotta put your ego out the way, and it's hard to do. It's hard to do for any professional athlete, especially a guy like Melo who's accomplished so much in his career.
Like he's a 10-time All-Star, and you tell me I need to be off the bench.
Yeah, he's a 10-time All-Star. He's a 4-time Olympian. I mean,
won a scoring title.
He's one of the prolific scorers that ever played the game. He's a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. But I saw it happen to Allen Iverson. And Allen Iverson was not ready to stop playing basketball. Allen Iverson signed a deal to go overseas. He was not ready to stop playing basketball. And he ran himself out the league, not letting his ego get in the way.
We will see how it all plays out with Melo. I'm sure maybe in the next couple of weeks things will solidify where he is headed next. We're going to step aside, but still to come, Clint Capella, you just talked about it. We'll dive into it. $85 million, the Rockets said, we'll sign you up for 5 years. Capella said, that is not enough. And also Tony Parker, after 17 years in the Alamo City, saying goodbye. He's headed to the Buzz City with the Charlotte Hornets. We'll discuss that move and a whole lot more. Stay with us. Southside Heat, coming right back.
Yes, sir.
Facebook Live. What's up? You got some comments, man? I had looked on your page a while back. We need to answer some questions. What we got, Antoine? Cass was telling me to make sure I know your bio next time. It'd be a lot of information going around, G. My bad. I said we need to answer some comments. Like I think people was people asking questions on there, or they was just giving comments on your joint. I know you had a few comments on there.
I ain't even pay attention.
You ain't even looking.
No, I ain't look my bad.
Let me see. I don't know if it was straight questions. It might have just been people saying, "I remember you, dog. You used to hoop back in the day in so and so league, dog. You used to be killing."
That could be it too. But I did used to be killing.
Where the page at that you shared? Cause you like shared on my page. I can't even find that. Where the hell? I need my other page.
I'm not switching up on
You on Facebook?
just both of them.
You on both of them right now?
But no, it's not.
Ready to come back?
All right, we can. Southside Heat, Clement Townsend, Antoine Walker. We're live on Facebook every single Thursday. Be sure to like the Be in the Mix Facebook page. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter. You can follow me, Clement TV _CLEMENT TV _, and that's Walker Antoine 8 on Twitter. Walker Antoine 8.
You like a celebrity, man. You got all that's too long. Clement TV Townsend, all this. Dot. Get up with me next week.
As if Walker Antoine 8 is the shortest handle in the world.
Well, first of all, the reason why my handle is like that is because somebody took my handle.
We discussed
so
that.
we discussed that.
Right.
But I'm just saying, you got Clement TV, dot.
It's one underscore. Like, come on, man.
Underscore, get up with me next week. Yeah, you got.
What in the world are you talking about?
Well, you got everything. I know you a star.
Let's keep this basketball conversation rolling, and we head over to H-Town. Clint Capella, one of the most sought-after free agents on the market. He is a restricted free agent, and I believe, and when you listen to Coach D'Antoni, the Rockets make it seem like they want him back. There were some reports that the Rockets actually offered him 5 years, $85 million, with incentives. That contract could have gone up to $90 million. That's $17 million per year. However, Capella's camp, they want a deal similar to what Rudy Gobert got in 2016 when the money was out there. Gobert got 4 years, 102. Adams got 4 years, $100 million. But Antoine, this is a different marketplace. Not a lot of teams have that type of money. The only teams that really have space are kind of like Atlanta, Sacramento, Chicago, and they might not necessarily need Clint Capella. And as good as Clint Capella was for the Rockets, and he was runner-up and most improved player to Victor Oladipo, I don't know if his skills translate to every single team. In a team where they run a lot of pick and roll, and he can rim run, and he can play well on defense, and he gets easy buckets, that works well for the Rockets. But teams that are trying to space the floor, shoot three-pointers, most fives can shoot threes. He cannot do that. So I don't know if he's a good fit elsewhere. I'm surprised he turned down $85 million.
Clint Capella, if you listening to me, I hope you are. If they offered him 5 years, 85.
That's all the reports out there. He turned it down.
That money.
Please fire your agent. Please fire your people that advise you. Please tell your family members to be quiet.
He won $100 million.
You are not worth $100 million.
Somebody had to say it.
You're not worth the $100 million. You are worth a worthy contract. You are worth a guy who can fit into playing with two other all-stars that gets all the attention, that allows you to get your lobs, that allows you to get your dunks. I'm so disappointed that his agent, if this is true, will let him turn down 5 years for 85.
And let's work off the premise, because I follow the Rockets guy, Rockets beat reporter. The Rockets on July 1 offered $85 million over 5 years, the contract potentially reaching $90 million with incentives. 2 individuals with knowledge of the offer gave the Rockets beat reporter this information. 2 individuals.
This is sad.
So this just not Twitter scuttlebutt.
This is sad for me. I don't know how this guy's agent could tell him he's worth more than 5 years, 85.
Because you see guys getting 25 a year. You see Rudy Gobert.
It's not, you can't see Rudy Gobert is an all-star, 2-time defensive player of the year. Clint Capella's not 2-time defensive player of the year. Clint Capella's a good young guy who can, like you said, who can rim run, who finishes well at the basket. Mm-hmm. He is a defensive presence, but that's it. He's not a guy you can take the ball and throw it in the block to and give you 6 or 7 points in a row. So why do you feel like you're worth $100 million? It's bad that you're an agent. I don't mind him thinking you good. Every player should think he's the best player in the world. So I'm giving Clint Capella that. Okay, he believes he's the best center in the world. Your agent got to look you in the mirror, look you in your face and say, hey, this is a great deal. I don't know how old Clint Capella is, but he's probably 23, 24. You're going to be back up at 29. You can't turn down this kind of money. Now the market's shrunk. You don't have no teams that have any money. Why would you want to do it? What, you going to bet on yourself?
He could take the qualifying offer.
No, you don't bet on yourself when you got $85 million in front of you. Anything can happen. Ask Norris Noel.
Oh, man.
Ask Norris Noel. He turned down 70.
Ooh, no.
And he playing for the league minimum now.
Oh,
all you got to do is ask him. Come on, man. I don't know what these guys think they're better than what they are. What's wrong with these agents? You can't look at what another guy's making. Another guy don't determine what I make. I may not be better than him. He's not better than Rudy Gobert. He's not on Rudy Gobert level.
What about Steven Adams, though? Steven Adams.
No, he's not on his level.
4 years, $100 million. Steven Adams never been to an All-Star game.
He's not on his level. He's a better player, better defensive player, better rebounder, better scorer. I can throw it inside to him.
He can get you some buckets.
Yes.
He has developed his post game.
And he's tough. He'll fight.
Clint Capella was second in block shots last year.
Look, I don't know.
Second in the NBA in block shots.
I don't know what Clint Capella do. So what? Do I have block shots? I don't care about block shots. Clint Capella, man, go get your money.
Nothing about that.
Said that like
Clint Capella, man, go get your money.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Listen, go get your money, man, before you let this opportunity go. Maybe Houston might bear down and end up giving you 100, but go get your money, man. You're not that good. Get your money. Join a team that you play very well with. You're playing with 2 All-Stars, a potential 3rd All-Star, and embrace this moment. You'll get another contract when it comes up. Don't chase $15 million, bro. It ain't worth it.
He led the NBA in field goal percentage.
Don't chase $15 million, bro. It ain't worth it. I don't. It's
Antoine.
them field goal percentage, but you ducking the ball. He ain't shooting the ball.
How many 15 footers did he take?
DeAndre Jordan be up there. He horrible.
But how much does DeAndre Jordan get paid?
Different team, different situation.
Right? He just signed 1 year, 24 mil.
Nuh-uh. Guess what?
What?
DeAndre Jordan signed for $88 million. Don't say $24 million. He had that left on his deal.
But I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about right now.
Listen.
Okay.
Do your research, Clement. He came off. He had $24 million left on his deal. He opted out. He got the same deal. We'll see next year, was it worth him opting out? Because really it looked crazy to me. Because I don't know why you opt out of 24 to get 24.
To go someplace else.
Why am I going to go back to Dallas? I'm not from Dallas. I'm from the Texas area. I'm in L.A. I got a crib. I'm good. I'm comfortable.
But still, when you said he got the 88, he got the 88 over 4 years.
Okay, what's 5 years, 85? What the hell? God. Now, this is the same guy last week argued me about Kawhi Leonard taking 220 to 180. You contradicting yourself, bro. See, that's the thing. See, when I rock with the money, you went off on me. What's 180, 220? So what's 5 years, 85 or 484? No, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the brightest bud, but what's the difference?
Listen, I'm just putting that out there.
No, don't put it out there. I need you to defend yourself because last week you went in on me for saying 180 to 220.
I think Clint Capella should take the money. So when I put it out there to you, I wasn't disagreeing. I was just presenting the other side of the equation. That's all. I'm not saying that Clint Capella should hold out. So I'm not arguing with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but that's not my position. So understand that. That's not my position.
But, okay, but so that's when we talking about money. So what I'm telling you is when we're talking about money, it's different players and different situations. Like DeAndre Jordan deal was 4 years, like $88 million.
You are correct. 87.6.
87.6 million.
You are correct.
So it looked great because you see 24 a year, but it's the same deal. You get 5 years, 85. They tacked on an extra year. Probably say they sell cap space room. I mean, let's be honest.
And with incentives, it could have been 90.
Yeah, let's just be honest, though.
If you make All-Star team or something like that.
The Houston Rockets, made a huge mistake, and when they gave, and this is the problem, when they gave Chris Paul the 160 max deal. So that's a big mistake because now he handicaps you from signing the Clint Capella back, or Trevor Ariza back. But I understand Chris Paul deal was probably done last year, and they stayed true to their word. So I like the fact that they stayed loyal and stayed true to their word about Chris Paul. Obviously, Chris Paul had a great year. Injuries do happen to games. I hate to keep throwing it on Chris Paul. He's had injuries, but he's an injury-prone guy. I'm not giving the injury-prone guy a max deal. I'm from Chicago. I'm watching Derrick Rose average 18 points for the New York Knicks, show the world he's back healthy, played 66, 70 games, something like that, and say I had to sign for $2 million with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I don't, and I'm thinking, Chris, I'm assuming, I'm not a GM, I'm not behind closed doors, but I'm assuming the knock on Derrick Rose is that he's had surgery, he has injuries over the last couple of years. That's why he's not getting a big lucrative deal.
Yeah, like he's missed seasons. Although Chris Paul has been injured, he's never missed whole
But
seasons.
he's been hurt the last 4 years.
Chris
when
Paul
you're at the
gets
most
injured at the worst
Yes,
time.
thank
He
you.
does.
And
He gets
you-
injured in the
He gets
playoffs.
most
He gets
critical
injured in the
is
playoffs.
in the
never
most critical
dead.
time. So I don't know. I'm just a little. As a GM. Don't get me wrong. Chris Paul body of work speaks for itself. I'm not taking Chris Paul body of work away, but I got to talk to Chris Paul man to man and say, look, you're 33. You've been injury prone. I can't max you out. I have to sign back Trevor Ariza. I have to sign back Clint Capella. I'm going to give you a comfortable deal, but I cannot max you out. I got to keep this team together. And if I'm Chris Paul, and if you really put Chris Paul up under the gun, we just went to the Western Conference Finals. That was your first time getting there. We say we want to win a championship. You're going to buy in to keep these guys around. Now they're in a situation now, you signed Gerald Green back for 1 year. And I love Gerald, but, I mean, let's be realistic. Now you have to maybe sign a Carmelo Anthony so you can hopefully get some more scoring. And then, too, you sign Michael Carter-Williams, who can't throw in the ocean. I mean, as your backup. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the makeup of their team. And then you look at let's just flip it. You look at the team you're trying to beat, who they picked up. They get DeMarcus Cousins.
Boogie!
They go get a top 15 player in the league in his prime. Obviously, he's coming off an injury, but they get Boogie Cousins. That's the difference. That's the difference in how this goes.
But
Think about it. DeMarcus Cousins called Golden State. Why he ain't call Houston?
Oh, that's because they ain't won 3 titles in 4 years.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying. So I'm just saying. If I'm Chris Paul, I got to keep my pieces together. And if I'm the GM, me and Chris got to have a talk. I like 3 years 90 for Chris. You don't like 3 years 90?
Well, I mean,
3 years 100.
Chris was eligible to get 5. So, Chris was like, you know what,
He
man, I'm not going to hit you for 5.
He's 33.
I agree with you. I agree with you, bro. I think.
But I'm just saying.
I agree with you.
And you wonder why Clint Capella deal is not signed. It's because you just gave him 40 a year and you paying James Harden 40. That's the only reason this deal ain't signed. They ain't no money. They put their money in 2 guys.
Right.
They ain't no money.
So how you gonna have supporting players and
How you gonna have a supporting cast?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I go back to you. You know what Chris Paul said? I need all mine.
Yeah. Well, come on.
But
bro.
that's what I'm talking about with Durant.
Right.
See, that's what I'm saying with Durant. See the difference between Durant?
Because Durant took a 1-1.
I'm going to take a max, and I'm going to take 1 year. I ain't tie the books up. I know we got Clay and Draymond coming up. And I do believe Kevin Durant next summer going to take another deal if they win again, just to keep Clement Townsend. I just believe that. That's what you got to do.
So Chris Paul should have probably done something like a Kevin Durant,
Yeah.
1-1.
Yeah, let me
with
do.
an option.
No, not a 1-1. Take you a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal. Take you 100. You got 160.
He took 4. That's what he took. He took 4
Yeah,
160.
You got to leave 50 on the table.
He took. Whoa.
You got to leave 50 on the table.
He wanted all his. Just like you wanted Kawhi to get all his. He wanted all his.
Yeah.
And the Houston Rockets were crazy enough to give him all his. I mean, I talked about it before. I feel like their window is maybe just this year. That's it.
Closed. The window is closed.
Well, I want to believe that he can still give you 1 year of good production, and you got to capitalize right now.
You know how you catch everybody? Like they won 65 games last year.
Yep.
Chris Paul and James Harden were amazing together. They were. I always throw that stat out, and you add Clint Capella now. They were like 50-5.
Yep.
They were something
Yep.
incredible. But to get, see, this is the thing. You have to get your. The Bulls were the only team that I've seen mentally lock in at a championship level throughout the regular season and playoffs. And what I mean by that, the reason why I think Houston, even though Houston won in Golden State and Golden State won in Houston, but I still believe by Houston having Game 5 on their floor, which they won in Houston, and Game 7, we all gave them a legitimate chance to beat Golden State.
Yep.
Can they focus back in and go get 65? Because
Probably not.
Because if Cousins is, let's say, healthy by January, that means they can basically must survive any injury. So I think they won 58 without even trying.
Last
Golden
year?
State, yeah. So yeah, I think Golden State's going to win anywhere between 62 to 65 games. Can they get to 65, 62 again mentally? I don't know if Houston can get there.
Especially without Mbah Moute and Trevor Ariza.
I don't know.
And if you have Carmelo trying to integrate a new piece, that's the thing. How do you fit in the new pieces? So what do you think their window is? Rob says it's closed already. I think you have 1 year left, with Chris Paul before he really starts to break down. He broke down last year.
I don't really, we disagree a lot, and I honestly believe it's 1 year too. I don't think it's closed like Rob said. I think they still got another year because I think obviously Chris Paul will have a little chip on his shoulder, signed a big deal. He'll want to show that he's worth the money. Obviously he got hurt the most critical time last year. He'll have a chip on his shoulder. I think Carmelo Anthony, if they're able to sign him, I'm assuming that they'll get a deal done, for Clint Capella. If they're able to get those deals done, I believe they got 1 more year at it. It's tough with their style of play when you don't have bang, knockdown shooters. The X factor for Houston has been, over the last couple of years, as a mainstay, is obviously the sixth man of the year, Eric Gordon.
True.
It's been consistent the last 2 years. So they have that piece as well. So they're going to be very good, I think, this year. I think they'll be able to, being that they were that close last year, they should come in with the right focus. But I'm with you, Clement. I believe this is it. This year right here coming up. I just think 2019 with the free agent movements and things that are going to happen in free agency, it's going to be tough for Houston to maintain themselves as the number 2 team in the West.
And the thing about it, we both agree that their window is 1 year, but you still had Chris Paul on the hook for $40 million for years 2, 3, and 4.
Kudos to Chris Paul and his agent, baby. Right. Get that money. Go get it. They went and got that money, baby.
Switching gears to Tony Parker, Antoine.
Mm-hmm.
That one kind of surprised me, man. Drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, 17 seasons with San Antonio, won 4 titles, Finals MVP, 6-time All-Star, and lo and behold, he's headed to the Hornets on a 2-year, $10 million deal. When asked about it, the Hornets' new coach, James Borrego, used to be an assistant with San Antonio, so he knows him well. He says MJ is his idol, so he likes being with Michael Jordan's organization. And Nicolas Batum, also from France, calls Nick Batum his little brother. Certainly, DeJounte Murray has emerged as the number 1 guy there in San Antonio at the point guard spot. Tony Parker's minutes were down, played the fewest minutes of his career last year, 19.5 minutes per game. But the Hornets already have a number 1 guy, at least for 1 year, in terms of Kemba Walker. I would have thought, like Tim Duncan and probably like Ginobili, that was the core of those guys that won so much. It just seems funny for me to see a guy like Tony Parker looks like he's going to wind up his career. Maybe he'll come back to San Antonio on a 1 day, that sort of thing. But it looks like he's going to end his career someplace else. That surprised me.
Yeah, I'm actually disappointed about this. I just felt like Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker is like one of those guys like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
That you never want to see in another uniform.
Not too many guys. Dirk. Dirk.
Like Dirk.
Yep.
And I even said Paul Pierce. I remember back in the day when he had 15 years with Boston. You just never want to see those guys in another uniform. And obviously, I think Tony Parker, and this is another tough thing that we just talked about. We just had this long thing about Carmelo Anthony, is that it's tough for a guy to look himself in the mirror. I mean, Tony Parker, I don't know this, but I'm pretty sure San Antonio offered him something. I can't see Pop not.
I believe they did.
So just say they offered him something, and Pop probably told him it's going to be a very reduced role for you. And Tony Parker's like, I'm not ready to give it up. Like, you don't have to give it up. But guys don't. I mean, you're not gonna look right in a Hornets uniform.
No.
I mean, it's not gonna be the same. I know he got some familiar faces with the coach and obviously Nicholas Batum, and he has a lot of respect for Michael Jordan. But going to Charlotte to a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs.
And he's made the playoffs every single year. He has never missed the playoffs.
You know, for you, I would respect, for Tony Parker, I would respect his decision if he went and played for a contender.
Okay.
If you're going to leave, I need to go play for a contender. I hate to get in the guy's pockets. I mean, $10 million is $10 million for two. I don't know how much of that is guaranteed. I don't know if it's a player option behind that.
I believe it's straight 2-year deal.
But if it's a straight 2-year deal, $10 million at his age and at his career is a nice piece. That's a nice deal for him. But I would have went to a contender and bagged up one of these young point guards. You know, I look at OKC that really needs. I know they signed Raymond Felton, but that really needs a bag up point guard. You know, it's so many teams that could use a guy like Tony Parker's experience that are trying to get over the hump that he could have fit in with besides the Charlotte Hornets. But he did make the decision. He is a guy I believe is going to be a Hall of Famer. He probably will be a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. You think about Tony Parker has 4 rings, numerous All-Star appearances.
6-time All-Star.
6 times. I knew the number was pretty high.
Yep.
Somebody, guy who's been to 6 All-Star games, so he's going to be a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. I wish he could have retired in San Antonio. It's always sad to see guys go somewhere else, but I also understand the nature of the business. I'm sure Pop and them were very honest with him and tell him he was going to have a reduced role where he might not even play every night. That there'll probably be some nights that he would not even get an opportunity to play.
But you got Patty Mills still.
Yeah, so I understand that side of it. But I just wish, kind of like Tim Duncan, and like you see, the Spurs kind of go out their way for Ginobili a little bit and make sure that they've kept Ginobili the last 2 years. Where we thought Ginobili might retire, they've kind of went out their way to make sure that they keep him on the roster. You wish they would have did that with Tony Parker, but I'm happy that Tony's still in the league. But it's always sad to see him leave a situation like that because we know what Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Tim Duncan did for that organization and have built over the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's not too many times where you have a guy that has been with an organization that long and then goes somewhere else. Parker is only the 3rd player in NBA history to play at least 17 seasons with one team before leaving. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Wow, he did 17. Yeah,
17. Olajuwon's with the Rockets 17 seasons, and I barely remember him playing with Toronto after that. And then Karl Malone, obviously with Utah, and then we know he was with the Lakers at one point after leaving the Utah Jazz after that long time. It looks like Tony didn't have a ton of options. Certainly, I think the Spurs, offering him. It says the Nuggets were interested, and then he's got Charlotte in the mix as well.
Yeah,
he took Charlotte's offer.
Yeah, he took Charlotte. I mean, it's familiar faces, like you said. I know he's very tight with Nicholas Batum. They play on the Olympic team together. They're from obviously, and then familiarity with the head coach is always good too. So, I'm not saying it's a bad decision. It's a basketball decision. Obviously, when you can make $2 million after being in the league 17 years is always good. When you can still make another $10 million. So contractual wise, money wise, it's a good deal. But just loyalty and legacy and all that stuff. Sometimes you look at that and you wish he would have finished in the Spurs uniform. But his jersey will go up in the Raptors in San Antonio.
No doubt.
And he'll definitely be a Hall of Famer.
A team you're very familiar with, Boston Celtics, still trying to get things worked out with their restricted free agent Marcus Smart. Many reports say Marcus looking for a deal around maybe $12 million per year over 3 or 4 years. Doesn't seem like Boston is trying to offer that. They're trying to look out for their future because at some point, we've discussed it, they're going to have Kyrie to try to re-sign, Al Horford on down the line. You're going to have to try to lock up, Rozier will come up too, but you got Brown and Tatum. Right now, it kind of looks like that Marcus Smart might have to just sign the qualifying offer. That's about $6 million. That would be just 1 year. Then he could become an unrestricted free agent Other than that, he might have to lower what his camp and his agent feels like he's worth. He was drafted in the same draft as Dante Exum. Exum was the 5th pick. Smart was the 6th pick. Exum got 3 years, $33 million. But Exum has been, injury prone, missed a whole lot of time. But I wonder if they'll lower their asking price if they can get a deal done. How do you think things might play out for Smart in Boston? And let me say this too. I know you've had dealings with Danny Ainge, and you've talked about how he's rubbed you the wrong way. One of the things about this situation is Smart has said he hasn't really had any contact with them, Antoine. I'm sure you've heard that as well. It seems like they're not even telling him anything. It's just like he out there on an island, and I think that is kind of frustrating for him going through the process.
Well, it's the Danny Ainge effect. This is what Danny Ainge does. He befriends you. He makes you feel like you're a part of the organization. He makes you feel like, you guys are going to be together forever. Myself, Isaiah Thomas, I think it's the biggest example. When you look at Isaiah Thomas right now, who can't even get a job. And not saying that's totally Danny Ainge's fault. Obviously, Isaiah's been hurt. But this guy was on top of the world 2 years ago.
He said back up the Brinks truck. He thought he was going to get paid when free agency rolled around.
And, Danny Ainge wakes up one morning and trades him. And that's the unfortunate part, and that's the business part of the game that we love and play in the NBA. But Danny Ainge is being a GM right now. What can he say to Marcus Smart? It is nothing that he can say to Marcus Smart right now because he wants another team to set the market for him. He's not in position to offer him any money right now, being that he got it right with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. He's got Kyrie coming out. So he can't. He has to sit back. But the bad part about it, and what people don't understand, that I wish that this is the business part, and this is why I hate what Kent Capella's doing. When you got $85 million on the table, you got to take that type of money. Guys start thinking they're better than what they is, because when they got the gun, when them GMs got the gun, they gonna shoot it, buddy. When they got the gun, they gonna shoot it. They gonna let you know how much you worth. That's the crazy part. Still I won on the first day. It's crazy to me that Danny Ainge doesn't pick up the phone and say, hey, Marcus, we want you back. We're going to try to figure out a number for you, and hopefully we can get some resolved. You don't pick up the phone and say this to a guy that you just went to the Eastern Conference Finals with, a guy you drafted, a lottery pick. I think he was a lottery pick, right?
He was 6th overall.
Yeah, a lottery pick. A guy who I'm pretty sure you've had numerous conversations with and told him how important he is to the team. You can't pick up the phone and give him a reassurance that you at least want him. Everybody understands the business. You want him to come back with an offer and see if they'll match it. But that's how Danny Ainge operates, and that's probably why he's considered to be one of the better GMs in the league. He's hit a couple of home runs. Obviously, he won a title. His first home run was getting Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, and so he's well respected in this league, and this is probably one of his tactics that makes him really good. I don't understand it. That's probably why I'm not a GM, because I'm not willing to have that type of heart. It's not to be able to call the young man and let him know that, hey, we're still interested in you. We're trying to figure out what we're going to be able to give you, and you can leave it at that. I don't think that's a harmful conversation. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right, just don't leave me hanging though.
But now that you got a young fella, he probably don't even want to go back at this point.
To Boston?
Yeah.
I think he does. That's the only team he's ever known. I think the relationships that he's developed and what Boston is on the cusp of building, I would assume so. LaVine, and I'm still related, LaVine was saying he had hoped that he didn't have to get an offer from someplace else. And when the offer sheet came from Sacramento, you heard the comments. LaVine said Chicago kind of make it seem like they don't want me. But then when the Bulls matched, LaVine was like, well, it's the business, and I understand how the business is. So I think if they're able to get a deal, they can mend the fences.
Oh, I agree with you on that. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out. Maybe, it makes a player feel bad to a certain degree. If you can't pick up the phone and have open dialogue, I don't think it's nothing wrong with that. It's still a business. I think players understand that. You don't have to promise him anything. Just let the man know, hey, we're still very much interested in you. We're trying to figure it out on our end, how we may be able to put a deal together. I'm not going to be able to offer you anything right now, but you are still on our radar. What's wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with that, but I guess that's not how Danny Ainge works. I guess he takes the more stronger approach. I mean, I'm assuming.
He's G when it comes to that.
You gotta think
negotiations.
You know what's crazy? And it's like I know it's 30 teams down in summer league, and all the GMs and all the players are in and out of that town.
Ainge and Smart, we're both in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Oh, without question. I wonder, do you even speak to the guy? Do you even act like he's on a team? I mean, how does that even work?
He said he saw him, and because there was a picture, like he saw Marcus Smart and kind of rubbed him on his head, and then kept it moving. There was no conversation. He just acknowledged him, kept it moving. They ran into each other.
Well, I guess he's going to handle it like a business, but that's Danny Ainge for you. That's a whole nother story.
You already know, and we've heard some of those stories before. I think it all gets worked out in the end. I don't know if it's going to get worked out the way that Smart hopes. If he's going to get, $12 million or more, 3 or 4 year deal, I certainly think he's going to be back with Boston. Would you say that's how you think it plays out? Regardless of how the deal is, you think he's going to be back?
Yeah, and I think even if he has to take a qualifying offer and build himself, I think that's the best move because he stays in the role of where he was on the team, where he knows what his role would be on the Boston Celtics. And the big thing too, I got to add about that, Marcus Smart is one of Brad Stevens' favorite.
Okay.
So that's important too. He's going to be in rotation, so he may have to come back for that qualifying offer.
Still to come, you mentioned Vegas. You talked about Summer League. After the break, we'll get into it. Wendell Carter balling out for the Bulls. Trae Young up in Vegas, not too good in Utah. And then if you want to talk about some big Blue Nation guys like Kevin Knox, we get into him. And Colin Sexton, Wednesday, 25.7 assists. What is he doing for the Cavs? We'll break down a few guys from Summer League when we return. Stay with us, Southside Heat. Yeah! Uh-huh. So what you call him? Tell me yes or no. Sexton, you want to do him?
Players?
Yeah. Sexton.
I just go some numbers. So Sexton, Kevin Knox, Wendell Carter, and I like what Grayson Allen's doing.
Grayson Allen. All right. I do want to just do Trae Young, so I'll put him in there.
That's fine.
All right, so that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sexton, Knox, Carter, Grayson Allen, and Trae Young. And those flow because Grayson Allen and Trae Young had like a little skirmish, a little something.
Washington signed Dwight at 204.
Yeah. I think that became official. I believe we had talked about that. That was rumored that he was gonna get bought out.
You got your charger, boy?
Yeah.
I can kill my baby.
Horace, you got one of them other things? You got another one thing? Did you give me one already?
You can take mine.
They been just
I'm on.
You done?
Yeah, because my phone is there.
I'll plug you.
You got this old gas station cord.
Absolutely, man. They keep disappearing, man. I left one at the.
No, I'm talking about the link.
Oh no! I left the last one at the Big 3 thing. Oh, that one hurt right there, man.
We're gonna do those rules.
This charging?
Summer League, we might not take a break. We'll see how it goes. After that, after that cosine decline. Southside Heat, we in a break. We got Rob holding down over here. We got Antoine holding down over there. Oh, look at that banner too. You see we got that new banner? That thing looking sweet. We doing this. Southside Heat, we still in effect. Clement Townsend, 3-time All-Star Antoine Walker, 96 draft. You know, the whole Memphis thing, here's the deal. See, you telling me I didn't know your bio, and I'm like, man, I'm Googling this, man, because I do my research. I'm like, Basketball Reference don't have anything to do with Memphis. You didn't play in any regular season games as it pertains to Memphis. I've been doing the research as we talk, so that's why the people that keep the records per se don't necessarily count that. You was on the squad. I think you was there in the preseason, but no regular season games.
Well, I'm gonna break it down to you again.
Please do.
I took a buyout in January. I was on the team way past preseason, and
Okay.
I probably dressed about 35 games. Now, whether I entered the game, you're right about that, but don't say all past No, I was there in January, and I told them I need to get up out of here because I had to enter the game.
Because I didn't enter, that's why it's not working out.
It's not working out.
Okay.
I need to make sure I enter the game if I'm going to stay here.
Okay.
If not, I can go to the crib. I can go home and hang out, if that's the case.
That's one way to look at it.
Oh, yeah.
My man got me over here laughing so much, I'm messing up the equipment, my bad.
Well, I just gotta let you know now, yeah.
So yeah, if I appreciate you filling in the details. Because the internet don't always tell the real story.
I know.
Because there's no numbers to be had for regular season for that year. They could at least put some zeros or something. Whatever the case may be. They could acknowledge that the man was there. He said he dressed plenty of games.
They could've.
Right. No doubt.
100%. 100%. But I know you taking shots at me. It's okay.
Bruh, you my man. Why would I be doing that? I felt bad that I didn't even remember the whole Memphis part of the equation. So that's why I started digging into research like, man, why does Basketball Reference not have that? Let's move on to Summer League, though. Back in the day, Summer League wasn't all that big or as big as it was now. Did you play in Summer League?
No, I didn't. It was not as big. I think they had the Orlando Summer League.
Okay.
No, Utah. I think Utah Summer League is the one that's been going on for a long time. It was either Orlando or Utah. But I did not play because we did not participate.
Okay.
So what we did is we had it was called a rookie camp for 4 days. And basically we had our own rookie camp. So Celtics brought in, obviously myself and a bunch of other rookies that were trying to make the league. And we had a 4-day camp. So we never had we never went to actually Utah or Orlando Summer League. So I never played in the Summer League. It looked like I wasn't going to be able to avoid it. I mean, every big superstar, since they pretty much started the Vegas Summer League, every team that's played and made their superstars play in that league. So it wasn't like I would have been able to avoid it. But I love to play at that time, especially early in my career. I love to just play basketball. So I probably would embrace that moment. But I didn't get a chance to play in Summer League. We had a little rookie camp for 4 days, and then we got the rest of the summer off.
Summer League going on in Vegas. All 30 teams are involved. One of the guys who has turned a lot of heads, making a lot of noise, the Bulls' 7th overall pick out of Duke, Wendell Carter, 4 games, averaging 17 points, 8 boards, and averaging about 3 blocks per game. I was a person who didn't really like the pick by Wendell Carter. I felt like they should have gone with maybe a Mikal Bridges or even rolled the dice with Michael Porter. But I have to admit, Antoine, I've watched a couple of his games, and I have been impressed. Certainly the way he's able to protect the rim. It was one game against Cleveland with Ante Zizic, and he just stamped the ball on the backboard. On the other end, in terms of pick and rolls, showing a nice little touch, knocking down free throw line jumpers. I've seen him in transition trailing, knocking down threes. So, he's able to do things. I don't know if he has, like, a ton of upside. Like, I don't know will he ever be an all-star, but I think he's able to come in and make an impact right now, and he has impressed me. I've been pleasantly surprised, and I think he's going to be a solid player in the league.
I would have to agree with you on this. I've watched them, actually the last 2 games I watched very closely. Very skilled, much more moves than I thought he had, especially in the low block. Made a couple really, really tough moves that I seen in the 2 games I watched. Fadeaways, up and unders. Love the fact that he's a defensive presence, so it looks like he's going to have that Clint Capella, Rudy Gobert, Dwight Howard type of defensive intensity when you see him playing on the lane where he's think one game he had 5, 6 blocks in one game.
I think so. Maybe like his first. I believe maybe his first game. I think he had about 4 or 5 blocks.
Looked like he's a guy that can catch and finish, which is very important today at this day and age with big men. And obviously he's shown a little range too, out to 15, 16 feet. I think the Bulls have got it right, judging from what we saw in preseason. I think he's going to be a good, intricate piece to their young team. And it's always tough to draft a Duke guy. And not a big fan of the Dukies, but he's turned out to be pretty good. I think they hit a home run with him.
19 years old, played 1 year Duke, as you mentioned. Kind of got overshadowed because Marvin Bagley was a guy who put in work at Duke, so Carter didn't get a lot of shine.
Watching both of them is kind of like, and a guy we're going to talk about here shortly, Grayson Allen. That's actually like how they didn't win the NCAA title. That's all next.
When you got Bagley and Carter. Yeah, and they had Trayvon Duval, Allen. Yeah, and it was another guy that they had too. Trent, I think. Trent.
It seemed like they underachieved, but that's a whole nother subject.
Do you think Wendell can make an all-star team, A, and what is his comp? I see some people saying maybe an Elton Brand, who the Bulls drafted out of Duke. I saw some people talking about kind of a Tim Duncan. I'm like, whoa. Let's not go Tim Duncan. Also seen Chris Webber. I've seen Chris Bosh. And I've seen Carlos Boozer. You think one of those guys are a good comparison, or do you have your own?
When I was watching him, I didn't really watch him and say, wow, he looks like XYZ. That didn't really jump out at me. I think this guy's got potential to be, I wouldn't say an all-star, but to be a big part of what the Bulls are doing. I think offensively he's got to get a little bit more polished before we start talking all-star. I think defensively he's going to be one of the better defensive centers in the league. Could possibly lead the league in blocks. Rebound, I worry about him rebounding, getting his frame a little bit stronger.
He's 6'10". In summer league, he was solid on the glass.
So it's hard to say if a guy's going to be an all-star in this league. Right now, because the big men are not featured, this is a point guards league.
True.
And then when I look at the bigs that are like kind of standout bigs, you look at Anthony Davis, you look
Carl
at
Anthony Towns.
Carl Anthony Towns, you look at a DeMarcus Cousins, you look at Kevin Love. I'm looking at the bigs. All those guys can step out and shoot the three.
No doubt.
So if you're saying that, I guess Wendell, if he can extend his range and become not a knockdown 3-point shooter, but a guy that can make threes. Look at Marc Gasol over in Memphis. The way the bigs kind of separate themselves is by being able to step out and make a 17 to 22-foot jump shot. So if he's able to add that, then you can start talking all-star. But I think the Bulls did get it right with this pick. He's going to be a solid pro. Looks like he's going to have potential to play 10, 15 years in this league.
7th pick was Carter, right behind him. The 8th pick to Cleveland, Colin Sexton. You felt like that was actually the guy that the Chicago Bulls should have gone after with the 7th pick. Summer League on Wednesday, 25 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 games in Vegas, 19 points, 3 assists is his average, shooting 48% from the field. The Bulls played against the Cavs. I don't recall who won that game. That's neither here nor there. Sexton, I think, played pretty well in that one. I think he's lived up to expectations. Not necessarily gifted offensively. I still think he probably needs to get a little bit better in terms of a jump shooter. And I still wonder, he can pass and facilitate, but I don't know if he has the balance just yet in terms of when to create his own shot and when to get guys involved. But it's only summer league, though.
Yeah, the young pit bull, that's his nickname.
Okay.
The young pit bull. I had I had an opportunity this year by working with the SEC Network to see Colin a lot and cover him this year. I thought he would have been great for the Bulls. You add a point guard like that with his quickness, play up tempo with him. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers hit a home run with him. Now you talk about a guy who could potentially be an all-star. I think he has.
You go there.
He has all-star potential. But the one deficiency is probably his range.
Okay.
I think he can shoot. He has a decent mid-range pull-up 15-footer, which he's displayed in summer league a lot. If you really look, he doesn't really shoot the three, the pro three. I'm not saying that he has to become a knockdown 3-point shooter, but in this league, you're going to have to be able to step back and make some threes, and he'll get that. He's young. You can't have everything on day one. So he's young. He'll get that. but I love his quickness. I love his ability and to come off the pick and roll. The one thing that I see that is probably a little small deficiency, he turns it over a little bit too much for me. He has to take care of the basketball a lot better, be at the point guard position. But the young bull for the University of Alabama was the right pick.
I know you like talking about folks from the University of Kentucky. Hashtag BBN, Kevin Knox,
Yeah.
the 9th pick to the New York Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
He has really been impressive. 4 games, averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, can get to the rim and finish. We know he has a nice shot, really kind of just showing a lot of stuff that we saw at Kentucky and showing that he can do it at the next level, and it is really standing out at least amongst this level of competition.
Yeah, Kevin's been a pleasant surprise, especially in the summer league, obviously. Just his ability, one, to make the three-point shot. 2, he's a guy that has shown he can come off the screens and catch and shoot at his size is really, really good. I know we were doing a comparison game on Wendell Carter, but for me, he reminds me of a little bit better version of Tobias Harris.
Okay, I can go with that.
That's what Kevin Knox kind of that jumps out at me when I watch him. And Tobias Harris has turned himself into a really good pro. But with the Knicks, I think Kevin Knox is going to have a chance to to fight for Rookie of the Year. The reason why I say that is he's going to get a ton of playing time. He should probably be in around the range of 30-35 minutes a night. He'll be a main focal point on the offensive end and what they do on the offensive end. So I look for Kevin Knox to have a huge rookie season.
We continue the Summer League conversation with one of the biggest names coming out of college basketball, Trae Young, 3rd overall pick, Atlanta Hawks. We know in Oklahoma, led the nation in points and assists. He started off in Summer League in Utah, and man, he struggled. Really struggled in Utah. He shot 12.5% from three-point range, Antoine. 12.5. That's garbage. 23% from the field, 13 points, 4 assists in Utah. But then when he went to Vegas, though, it seemed like things started to click. Maybe started to find his groove a little bit. 4 games in Vegas, shooting 38% from the field, 17 points, 7 assists. There was a game against the Pacers where he did a fantastic job down the stretch, distributing the basketball. For me, Antoine, his playmaking ability is advanced, and even when his shot is not falling, he can really create for others. And you kind of have to respect his shot so he can still have an impact even when the shot is not going, and he seems so unselfish. So I think he's going to be okay. I think the spotlight was on him a whole lot, especially because the trade from Dallas to Atlanta, especially because he came in with the hype of a Steph Curry and all the highlights and things of that nature, and he struggled so bad early on, but I think he's going to be fine, and his playmaking ability, he's going to be solid at the point guard position for years.
No question. He'll be an all-star in this league. No question, no doubt in my mind. He'll be a guy this year that makes 250 threes.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
he'll be a guy that makes 250 threes. Atlanta is adapting that style of Golden State, where they want to play fast, shoot threes. So he'll have the green light, unlimited range. You talked about his playmaking ability. I like it. A little small, so he's going to have to learn how to shoot some floaters and finish well around bigs, where I think Steph Curry has made himself one of the best finishers in the league at finishing over bigs. So that's something that he'll get as he continues to grow as a pro. But struggling in Utah, and you guys are like, whoa, 12%. But to be able already to put that behind him and come right back in Vegas and come back and just keep going, he's got a Steph Curry mentality.
Okay.
It's going to be very difficult to shut him down. He's a very confident individual, believes that he can make shots, believes that he can make them from 30 feet. I like him. He's an exciting player. I think that's what the fans like now, is guys that can shoot the basketball, especially guards. But he's a little smaller than what I thought. He's about 5'11". I think they tried to hike his height up a little bit. He's probably about 5'11". So he's going to have to get a little bit stronger. So he'll be able to fight over pick and rolls and things of that nature on the defensive end. But I also think Atlanta got it right too. Great pickup for them. Good point guard. It's going to fit into their style. New coach, new ownership. So he'll be good. The fans, I think because he's a big name and people got to know him on a collegiate level, Atlanta's a tough place to sell tickets. I think he'll be one of the big guys to bring that back.
I wonder if Lloyd Pierce is the guy to develop him, or is he the first guy? Like Mark Jackson did a great job of getting like Steph and Clay to a point.
That's a great point.
And then Steve Kerr came and finished the job. So can maybe he help him early on, but will he be able to stay there throughout the entire time to where we see Trae Young reach his full potential? Something I keep my eye on, because Lloyd Pierce has never been a head coach before. He came over from Philadelphia as an assistant.
That's a great point. That'd be interesting. I mean, he's assistant coach. I would assume he was a player development guy. Lloyd Peterson was. So I was sure that he's got a lot of great workouts and motivationals to get guys. Because I look at, I play with a guy in D Wade, and I watch him work every day with Eric Spoelstra. A lot of people don't know that D Wade owes a lot of his success to Eric Spoelstra, a guy that worked with him every day on improving his craft, adding moves, working on his finish, and developing a game and having an actual game. A lot of guys don't understand that when you take the floor and you play in this league, you got to have a game, like a package. Like if you're an offensive player, a guy that gets 20 points a night, 25 points a night, you got to have a package. And in the variety of ways that you can score the basketball.
Explain for the people who don't necessarily follow you.
Well, you got to say like James Harden. You know his offensive package. He's going to excessive dribbles, but he can shoot the three.
Right.
He's going to get to the basket. He finishes well at the basket.
Right.
But when it all fails, he's not also a guy that gets to the free throw line 9 or 10 times a game.
He gonna flop.
So he has an offensive package that
right.
he goes to. A lot of guys don't have that to be great scorers in this league. I feel like LeBron James has finally developed the offensive package. Well, LeBron James early in his career were 10, 12 points in transition, where he was getting out, getting fouled, in open court, getting to the free throw line. Marginal three-point shooter. Now he shoots the three. He has a mid-range game. Remember, we always struggled with LeBron midway through his career that he would not post up. And he eventually started posting up a lot more because he knew he had to add that to his game. So different guys got to get a game, and that's the transition from college to pro, or high school to pro, is to be able to get an offensive package skill set that's going to be conducive to get you to be able to score night in and night out. Just like we was arguing about Melo earlier, he got an offensive package. He had one of the best mid-range games. He had a quick first step. He gets to the free throw line. You know what I mean?
He's kind of strong down low too. He
Yeah.
ain't mind, grabbing some boards, offensive rebounds. Yeah. He don't like to pass the ball though. Part of his package is it's not ball movement. Like I don't think he's fitting on the Golden State Warriors. That's not part of his package.
No.
It's ISO.
Melo was talking, man, closed mouths don't get fed. So you got to get the FGAs up.
We were talking about Trae Young, and Trae Young actually got into a little skirmish with Grayson Allen. Some people say, here we go again. We saw Grayson at Duke, dirty player, tripping guys. He got tangled up with Trae, pushed him a little bit. Allen, 21st overall pick, first round to Utah, and he's a guy that has gathered your attention in the Summer League.
Yeah, I didn't understand at first why Utah picked him, because Donovan Mitchell, and he's coming off an unbelievable rookie year. He's going to pretty much be your starting two guard. Grayson Allen does have some ability to play the one, but they got Ricky Rubio, they got Dante Exum. I just didn't see where Grayson Allen was going to fit in there, but the way he's playing in Summer League, they're going to have to find some minutes for him.
Okay.
So in the bagger role at the 1 or the 2. Showing athletic ability, his ability to handle the basketball, make plays for others. The only thing Grayson Allen has to worry about, those little skirmishes that you get with players, the difference is now you ain't going to have Coach K just suspending you for 2 games. You're going to get a player that's going to bust you in your mouth because that's what people – that's the reputation.
Right.
So when guys feel like that's your reputation, you can get a guy, a hard-nosed player. I can see him and a Patrick Beverly getting into it right away, like a hard-nosed defensive guy that's going to go after you. And if you take it that, Grayson, be ready to fight. That's all I'm saying. If playing in the NBA, there's going to be a guy that's going to react to you because that's your reputation as being a tough guy. So he has to be prepared for that. But I think Utah got it right. I was skeptical about this pick, but it seemed like he's going to turn out to be a pretty good pro and be able to bag at the 1 and 2 position.
Yeah, I believe that Quinn Snyder is a great coach. We were just talking about Lloyd
Oh,
Pierce.
and he's
the
a Duke guy too. I didn't forget about that. That probably was another reason. That
Right.
Snyder's a Duke guy.
That's it right there.
Definitely not a fan of Duke over there.
But I certainly think that Snyder can develop talent, and Allen is in the right place. And you know, when you go late in the draft like that, you're going to a team, you know, that is already a winner per se. You've discussed it many a times. The fit is so key in that he was used to winning at Duke, and Utah won last year, went to the second round of the NBA playoffs, and it certainly seems like with a Donovan Mitchell and a Gobert and some of the other pieces, they are a franchise that's on stable footing, so it's an organization where he can go right in and kind of continue to win. I think that's solid for him.
Without question. I think, you know, and that another thing too, he'll have time to develop.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be any pressure for him to come in right away. When you can come join a playoff team that actually advanced in the playoffs, it's not going to be a lot of pressure. They bringing back that same core. So he'll have a chance to develop, but I just feel like I didn't understand the pick until I actually seen him on the floor and understand what they saw in his workouts and his skill level. Going to be a terrific talent.
One final break as we wind down here on the South Side Heat. On the other side, Adam Silver making some changes to the NBA draft and possibly when free agency begins. And we've got cosign or decline. South Side Heat. Stay with us.
Yes, sir.
If we do that last 3 minutes, how long that song lasts? We go to 350? Yeah, we go to 350. We talk about, you know, Silver said they might make change 2021, 18-year-olds, no more one and done. They talked about free agency, moving that up to like 7 p.m. on July 1st. Because it's like midnight, everybody got to stay up. That make it better for TV. You can have a show, that sort of thing. Them two topics, and then cosign decline. I don't know if I could just do cosign and decline and we ride off for 10 minutes. But with them, we can just go fast on that. It ain't got to be nothing extensive on the 2 Adam Silver channels. All right. I'm checking to see, make sure there ain't nothing happening while we sit here.
Anybody else got signed up?
Nah, it don't look like it.
I got the screen right there.
We ain't talking about Devin Booker. We ain't got to go all UK all day. He got his little extension. I wonder what happened with Isaiah Thomas, though. We ain't heard nothing about that cat, man.
Bro, it's like he disappeared.
Nothing about that cat.
I seen him on IG today. He was smiling like everything. Cool.
He took a picture with like some dude from Boston, and you know, like the insider, A. Sherrod Blakely. So like the buzz that I saw was like, he want to come back. That's the buzz that I saw.
He need to let that go.
Huh?
Yeah, he need
Go to
let
Boston?
that go, yeah. He ain't even a real Celtic. Let it go.
Right. What is that, 2 seasons?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you ain't even played. Like, come on, man, chill out. It's Boston. Like, certain organizations, if you don't play at least 5-6 years, you don't matter.
Come on, man. You had a nice little run.
Right. Like, chill out, man. You're not gonna make the all. That's what killed me on 2K. He actually made the all-time Boston squad.
What?
That was disrespectful. All the people that could have made that squad, they put him on there. I think it was just good. Man, if you don't accept my friend's request, I've been sitting in this friend's request out on like a month. Mr. Walker, if you don't accept my friend request so I can tag you in these doggone shows, got me sitting in limbo with you. Yeah. Sitting in limbo.
We ready. Clement Townsend, Antoine Walker, almost wrapping up another edition of the Southside Heat, where we learned that Antoine has never been to the Taste of Chicago. But I keep it moving though. Be sure to follow him on IG. Let him know about that if you rep Chicago. That's Twan Walker 8 on IG. Let him know how crazy that is. C Townsend TV. I might have to do an IG story about
I
that.
don't know how you gonna lay that one down.
Hey, man.
My
Man,
man,
you got
never,
All the things.
Hey,
to
man, you
say.
got too much stuff, man. Clement Townsend, Townsend underscore 5050. Watch me on 65-inch screen TV. You got all type of stuff on your.
what in the world is this man talking about? We keep it going on the NBA conversation. Adam Silver discussed a few changes the league might make in the future. One of the most imminent changes could be free agency when that opens up. In the past, that has opened up at midnight Eastern time. So hoops heads and diehard fans have had to stay up late at night to see what verbal deals get executed. Adam Silver says he knows that it's been that way for a long time, but with so much NBA coverage, it would be a lot better if they can move that up to a better hour, maybe, you know, like a 7 p.m., so they can have shows around it. Do you think that's something that needs to be adjusted?
Well, I think obviously this year was totally different because of LeBron James, and everybody was wondering what was going to happen to LeBron James, Paul George, and, you know, obviously Kawhi Leonard. So this year you had a host of big-time free agents that were out there. Next year you'll have the same, probably not as bigger names next year, but you're still going to have some very good talent. So I think that's what Adam Silver's looking at. You know, these guys are being, these next couple of years, maybe getting some ratings. I mean, they got a 7-year deal with ESPN.
Okay.
They got 7 years left.
Okay.
So if they want to do a free agent show, the problem is I think people got to understand if they're hearing rumblings of this free agent show. Free agency, that when you get those phone calls, from what I remember when I was a free agent, on July 1, you get, you know, if there's 6 teams that want you, those 6 teams will call you that night at some point. Obviously, you can't talk to everybody at 12:01. So, Clement, you call me at 12:01, we're probably going to have a 10 or 15 minute discussion.
Right.
Then the next team chimes in. So, I mean, I think people don't understand that on July 1, those are phone calls. And now supposed to be phone calls. So unless Adam Silver's saying they're cutting the deals before that, then that's cool. Because it seemed like this year the deals were cut before that.
Because Paul George, you know,
Well, Paul
he was
George
at the party with
yeah.
Russell Westbrook, so that's
he had the
done.
party. You know, Chris
Chris
Paul
Paul,
signed
yeah.
right away. You know, LeBron James was even done in 36 hours. I mean, it was just
You knew where he was going to go.
But yeah, I'm just saying those. You know, it wasn't a suspenseful free agency. We got all these deals done within 72 hours.
Cosign or decline, one of my favorite games on the Southside Heat show. I give a statement if you agree, Antoine. Cosign, if not, decline. The statement is, we have seen the last of Dwayne Wade. That's a wrap. It's been one. Cosign, decline.
Decline. I think he's going to get a few farewell tour. I think he will be one of those guys that announced that this will be his last year. I don't know if it's going to be this year. I'm not going to say that. I haven't got that. And I thought he was very well in Miami. I think I'm pretty sure he does not want to play any other place but Miami. But also Pat Riley cannot continue to stop the growth and development of his young guys. Dion Waiters will be back next year. So D-Wade was able to get a lot of playing time because Dion Waiters was hurt last year. So, I mean, I think Pat Riley's going to talk to D-Wade and see what he really wants to do. I do believe he's going to play one more year. And I think it'll be something that will be discussed and announced when Dwayne Wade decides to retire. And he'll retire in Miami Heat. I think Pat Riley want to make sure that he goes out the right way.
Cosign or decline. The San Antonio Spurs will win less than 50 games again. Last year the Spurs won 47. They had an 18-year streak snapped when they won 50 or more. We don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard, but just, hey, it could be a cloud hanging over. Maybe something happens at the trade deadline. We know Anderson is gone. Tony Parker is gone. The Spurs will win less than 50 games again. Cosign or decline.
Cosign. I believe they will win less than 50 games. They will make the playoffs. I do believe they'll be very competitive. I look at the 3 guys they still have. You got LaMarcus Aldridge. You have Paul Gasol. You still have Rudy Gay.
You got that young DeJounte Murray, all defensive team.
Well, you got the DeJounte Murray, who's going to be much, much better. They let Kyle Anderson go to the Memphis Grizzlies. Depending on what they get in return for Kawhi Leonard, which I'm assuming the way it looks like, they're going to make sure that they get a good player back in return. So I see them making the playoffs. I have them somewhere between 45 to 48 wins.
Okay. Right on par with what they had last year, finished up 47 and 35. Cosign or decline, Phoenix is the new Philadelphia. Trust the process. You know how Philadelphia did, tanked a few years. They got the young core, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. You can put Dario Saric. Now you got Devin Booker. You got a young Josh Jackson. Add the #1 overall pick, DeAndre Ayton. Cosign or decline, Phoenix is the new Philly.
I think with Philly, they're going to be very exciting. I would say I decline that. I don't think it's trust the process. I think with them, they're going to be a team that's going to be young, athletic. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a huge free agency spot. They still need to add another piece. I'm not sure if it's going to what position because I factored Brandon Knight in there too, coming off ACL.
Wow, forgot about him.
Yeah, he'll be in there. So they got some good core pieces. I think they're trying to win now. My problem with Phoenix is they've yet to pick that right coach, so you can develop a style
Don't
of play.
believe in Igor
You know
Koskov?
what I mean? Well, you had Earl Watt. You had was it Watkins? Earl Watson's in there. And, so I think once
yeah, Hornacek over there.
I think when you look at Philly, what made Philly's situation so great is they believed in Brent Brown.
Okay.
And they made him the coach. They fought through the bad losses. They did not mind it. They did not mind losing. They trusted the process, and they didn't fire him when they got good. They now because the guys got accustomed to playing his style, understanding him, believing in his voice, and that's a huge thing when you're in the rebuilding process. Is making sure it's the right coach that can get them over the hump. So I don't necessarily know if they got the right coach to play, but I like the pieces they got to play. They're right there. They're knocking on the door. But those guys have got to start to get better. Devin Booker's got to, he got a max deal, but he's been injury prone. He's only 21 years old. He's got to
young, real young.
He got to stay off that table, and and make sure that he stays healthy. So they're right there. They're knocking on the door.
Okay, and plus to me, it's a lot tougher in the Western Conference. You got LeBron over there now.
Yeah, that's true.
OKC. Then you got the Warriors.
That could slow up the process.
A whole lot. So the process might take a little bit longer. If it does go the same way that Philly is gone, you might have to get that process a little bit longer for it to play out.
Yes, sir.
That does it for another episode of the Southside Heat. As always, you know where to find us. Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. We dropping them every single week, and we hope to have you right back here next week. We out.
Yes, sir.